Hey guys, welcome back to CheatSheetPros.com. Today is November 11th, 2022, and today we released a revamped NBA cheat sheet where we have game logs for all 450 NBA players. So that's really helpful when doing prize picks and player props. So I'm going to go through and show you how to build a same game parlay using the cheat sheet. So typically this early in the day, a lot of the point lines aren't out yet, but we're going to flip over, and I did find a game that we're going to take a look at. So here on our prize picks tab, if you're playing prize picks specifically, we post the sheet in the morning and we update it again in the afternoon about 90 minutes before lock, sometime usually between 4 and 4:30 Central Time on a 6:30 lock. And you can see here what we've done is we have game logs for the last 10 games. We started off with 3, we went to 5, then we only had 80 to 100 players. And big props to Jessica H in the group for helping us revamp our game logs for the individual players. So now we have all of them, and she made it really easy and spent a lot of time on it, and I'm forever grateful. So now we brought this out to the last 10 games for the particular prop, and you can see we highlight it green if it goes over, red if it goes under. And then I just sort this by hit rate over the last 5. We have the hit rate over the last 10. And also you can sort by streak to see who, is doing the best or who has the highest streak. So here we have 2 5 streaks, 100%, and that's going to be Allen points, rebounds, assist, and then Curry points, rebounds, assists. Their prize pick line is 40.5 and 26.5. And you can see here that Curry's averaging 63 over the last week. So that's way over. So that's good. And then Allen averaging 29.3. And you can kind of see he's been scooting over that. Not by a ton, but sliding over it. So this really helps. You can also go through the last 7 average and see what the difference is with the prize pick line. And you can look at the daily raw projection for the player and see what it is in terms of the line. And again, we have all the stats in here that they do on prize picks. Points, rebounds, assists, 3-point shots made. I know later on in the afternoon they do a lot of points, rebounds, points, assists, rebounds, assists. They do some funky stuff, and we calculate it out where it's all in here. So if you're playing on prize picks, this is great to look at, especially an hour and a half before lock. You can pick out some plays, and you don't have to do a lot of digging. We also have our comparison tool over here, which we are going to look at, but for this video, we're going to focus on a same-game parlay on prize picks. Now, I did shrink this sheet up. I shrunk the blocks and steals and then the last 715 PRA because I wanted to show these numbers over here. So this last 6, this is the stat for each player. So, for example, the game we're going to look at to build a same-game parlay on is going to be Boston and Denver. So this is one that they were the first ones to have the player props up. So what we're looking at over here, we've got DFS salaries. We have our usage with the top 3 highlighted, the daily projected minutes, and then projected points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals, 3-pointers. So these are daily projections. These are the averages over the last 7, and these are the averages over the last 15. So you can see if a player's trending up, trending down, vice versa. And then over here, we have the last 6 dates that this team played, and then if the said player played on that date, we bring in their stat. Now you can see here Robert Williams, he's got 4 little blues. We've got a little name. There's probably a junior or something behind his name that we just need to correct. We will make those corrections as we go forward. And you can see we have all of the players down here for Denver. So the first thing I'm looking at is points. Now, depending on what stat you want to look at, we have points. You click in here and get this caret. You can look at points, rebounds, assist, points, rebounds, and assist. The fantasy score, and this is scored off the prize picks scoring. 3-point shots made, blocks, and steals. Those are my favorite to dig into. And then some of these extra props. We have points, rebounds, points, assist, and rebounds, assist. So those are kind of fun if you're looking for something specific. I really like points and rebounds when you get these players who are down low. They score about 10 points, have 8 to 10 rebounds. I like to just throw out assists, do points, rebounds, and take a look at them from there. Fantasy score is good if you're on prize picks. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to kind of stick with points. But you can see if you just click down, it flips over and shows you what the assists. So right here, look at Marcus Smart assist. Wow, 11, 12, and 11 the last 3 games. And you can just kind of flip around here So Jokic, 6, 10, 10, 14, 6, 6. So that kind of jumps out at me. You can see it's in green, so it's some of the highest of his team. So I would just go into DraftKings or your sports book and say, hey, what's the prop line on this? You know, can I bet it straight? Can I do a same game parlay? Some of these, for example, I didn't look up Jokic assists for this video, but to give you an example, if he's like 6 assists or more, minus 500, you can throw it in the same game parlay. That's a lot of juice. But if you can get something where he has like 8+ assists at plus 350, now that interests me because he's hit it in 3 of the last 4 games, and he went over it by more than just 1. And he's got a good floor, it looks like, of about 6 per game. So that's something good to take a look at. And that's kind of where you can start to build these. I know I posted one before we had the day off, and it was Kentavious Caldwell-Pope steals 2 or more. And then I had the team total, and I had another one, but they were plus, and it paid plus 1,000. So it was 10-to-1 odds. And I didn't even realize I hit it. I looked at KCP steals. He didn't have any after the first quarter. And so I went to bed, but I had like 10 same-game parlays. And I woke up and had a bunch of money in my account. And I was like, wow, where'd that come from? And luckily, that one hit. But anyway, so flip through this, take a look at it. Points, rebounds, assists. These are the main ones. I love PRA as well. So let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty. So we're going to look at points. So what I like about Boston is over here on the usage, you can see it's always Tatum and Brown. One of those two guys, if not both, they're going to go off. There's no one else that really contributes a whole lot. So Tatum and Brown are good combo players that we can put together. And with the same game parlay, you need at least 2 legs to generate a proper bet. So if I, let's say, get off work late, I don't have a lot of time, and Boston's playing, that's the first thing I'll do is go and say, hey, let me do Boston, Tatum, Brown, and team total over, just slap them together, you know, throw a unit on it and see what happens. Even if it only pays even money, it's fun. It gives me a reason to watch the games. But looking at this, look at the points over here. This is amazing. So they both went over 30, 39, and 21. So what you notice here is Jaylen Brown, when he dips down, Tatum goes up. So it's like a teeter-totter. If Brown goes up or Brown goes down, Tatum goes up. So that's nuclear at that point. And then the next day we got 26 and 30. And then here, Brown dipped down to 16. Then Tatum went nuclear at 36. Then we had 26 and 30, 23, 24. So some of the things you notice here is, one, they both score way more points than anyone else on their team, with the exception of this one outlier game with Sam Hauser. I don't even know who that is. But these are the 2 main guys that you want to focus on. And then when Brown doesn't get there, then Tatum goes nuts. Now, Tatum seems more dominant. You know, he's got 31, 39, 26, 36, 26. So he's the majority scorer, but Brown's right behind him. And then there's a couple different ways you can approach this. If you only want to do a 2-1, you can do a lower number on Brown and then reach a little bit more on Tatum to get up. But we'll get into that. So I want to jump down here to Jokic before this video stretches out too long, but I know you guys love to hear my beautiful voice. So the ones that jump out down here as far as usage is going to be Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Bones Highland, who I'm assuming his real name is Nashawn Highland because that's who's coming up on the DK prop. So these are the 3 guys that I'm going to focus on because they have the highest usage rate. Now, with so many games on the slate, I like to stick with the people with the highest usage rate or that's going to play a lot of minutes. So these are the 3 that I'm looking at right now. And as far as points, you can see Joker, 24, 26, 21, 15, 23, 20. Now, when you're looking at his prop, his same game parlay is 20 or more minus 350. So, yeah, he's probably going to get 20 or more, but minus 350, he's been under that a couple of times. I don't really like that. You can jump it up to 25 or more points at minus 105, so pretty much a straight bet, but he's been under it, barely over it by 1, under. So I don't like that. That doesn't seem like it's something that's consistent or hitting a lot. But if you find out the opponent is really bad at points in the paint and their DVP isn't good, then that may be something that you reach on. But to me, there's not a lot of value there. But one of the ones that jumps out is Bones Highland. And I'm not an NBA guy. This is probably the 4th sport that I follow, but that's kind of how the whole cheat sheet thing got started. But every night, I see Bones Highland come off the bench and just score a crap ton of points. Now, what I'm looking at here is you can see tonight he's projected for 22 minutes, yet over the last 7, he's averaged 26. And then over the last 15, he's averaged 25 and a half, so about 26. So he's averaging more per game over the last 2 weeks than what he's projected. So that's one thing to take note of. He's projected for 9.8 points, so we'll round it up. We'll say 10 points. Well, over the last week, he's averaging 18. And over the last 2 weeks, he's averaging 20. So on the last 6 games, well, these are the last 4 that he played. He had a couple he was out. He has 16, 14, 24, and 26 points. So he's doing really good. So this is one that I would start off my DK same game parlay. So I can't pull it up on my browser. For some reason, it won't load a same game parlay. But for Bones Highland, 12 plus points is only minus 135. So you can see he's got that in 4 straight games that he's played. You can go 15 plus points, which he's done in 3 of his last 4 games and then missed it by 1 at plus 170. So I always do a long shot one. So my long shot one, I'm going to start that off with a Highland 15 or more points plus 170. That's a good one leg to really juice up that payout, and I'll post that one later. But for the sake of this one, I'm going to just do Highland 12 or more points. That seems to be pretty safe. He's doing that consistently, and this game should have a bunch of points scored in it. So Bones Highland, 12 plus points, minus 135 is going to be the first leg. Now, sliding over here, we didn't like the odds on Jokic, which typically the studs are going to be juiced a little bit more, but Jamal Murray, he's got the second highest usage rate on the team at 26.8. You can see 29 minutes is what he's projected. He's playing 28, averaging 28, so there's no big change in minutes, so I'm not worried. He's projected at 15.8. We'll round it up, 16 points. He's averaging 16.7 over the last week, so we can say, hey, that's a pretty fair projection for him. And over the last 2 weeks, he's averaging 18. So giving him 16 to 18 points feels pretty solid. That feels like a floor for him. And then looking at the last 6 games, we have 18, 19, 13, 24, 21, and 13. So we have a couple low games at 13. But then, he averages about 18 points, have a couple big games here at above 19, at 24 or 21. So I really like that. So when I pulled him up on the DraftKings same game parlay, 14 plus points is minus 340. So if you want to put that in there, you can. 340 is a lot of juice, but it's going to, once we put these together, it's really not going to matter. But what I don't like about 14 plus is he's been under that twice, and that's laying a lot of juice. So for me, that's not really worth it. So what I looked at is I went up to 16 or more points, minus 190, minus 195, because he's been over in 4 of 5. And when he fell under, he missed the 14 and he missed the 16. So I would rather take that juice from minus 340, minus 350, and knock it down to about minus 190 and generate that up. Now, to give you an example, with just these 2 legs, Bones Highland 12 plus points and Jamal Murray 16 plus points, that's minus 135 and minus 195. Put those together and it pays plus 175. So that's a really good payout for a 2-legger. And that was the first one that I bet today. I just threw 1 unit on it, plus 175. We only need to win that about 40% of the time to be profitable. And then you could even go to Jokic, add him in there. And even if you take his 20 points, which should be fair for him, at minus 350 and add that in there, it jumps that from plus 175 to plus 280. So your 1 unit's going to pay 2.8 to 1. So I really like that. So I just did Bones Highland, Jamal Murray, plus 175 to kind of start it off. Jamal Murray, 18 plus is minus 115. So that's kind of doesn't jump a whole lot. Now, you can go over here to Brown and Tatum that we were talking about earlier. There's a couple different ways you can go with this. So you can do Tatum over 25 points and Brown over 20 points. And I like to look and say, okay, 25-20. That hit, that hit, that hit, did not hit, did not hit. So they've hit it in 4 of the last 5. But also 4 of the last 6, so it's 4 and 2. Well, the juice on those 2 is minus 140. So that seems, it's not terrible. I don't hate it. But one of the things that jumps out at me is I wanted to go over here and look at like rebounds and see. Well, here you can see look at Jaylen Brown's rebounds. He's been doing really good. 7, 9, 5, 5, 8, 10. Now, Tatum, not so much. 1, 3, and 4 versus 7, 9, and 5. Well, we know Tatum's a point scorer, so let's stick with his points prop. So the points prop I'm looking at for Tatum is going to be 30 plus. So if you take 30 plus points, he's hit it 1, 2, 3. 3 of the last 4 games he could fall under, but I want to get something plus money here. And you could even drop this to 25 and take a little bit more juice, and that feels really safe since he's on a 5-0 run for that number. But then over here, I want to look at assists as well. We can see Jaylen Brown, he's throwing in, 2 to 3, 2 to 4 assists. So one of the things that jumps out at me is his points, rebounds, and assists number, which you can see here, 40, 32, 38. He's really climbing up there when you combine all of those together. Well, you can take a Jaylen Brown, points, rebounds, assist over 30, and he's over that in 4 of 5. So even when his points dip, he makes up for it with his rebounds and a handful of assists to get up over that number. So if you do Jaylen Brown points 30 or more with, Jason Tatum points 30 or more with Jaylen Brown points, rebounds, assist 30 or more, that's plus 155. So by putting those two together, originally when we did 25 and 20 points, we only hit it 4 out of 6 times in the last 6 games, and it was minus 140. Well, if we flip it to points and then the PRA for Brown, it jumps to plus 155, and it's hitting at a much higher clip. So I like doing something like that. Also, I wish I could pull this up and show you on the DraftKings Sportsbook. If you just want to do min points for all the high usage studs, you could do, here, let's go look at points and we'll show you how often this one would hit. And these are fun. I like high win stuff. So Jason Tatum over 20 points. Okay, he's 6-0 on that. That would be leg number 1. Brown, 15 plus points. Okay, he's 6-0 over that number. Jokic, 15 or more points. He's over that in 5 straight games. The 6th game he was under, but he's got a 5-0 of 15 or more points. That would be leg number 3. And Bones Highland, let me find him over here, slide over. His minimum over is 11 plus points, and he's done that in 4 straight games easily. And then Jamal Murray is 14 or more points as his minimum. He's done that in 4 of the last 5, 4 of the last 6 games. So a pretty safe floor for those. So you can do Tatum, Brown, Jokic, Bones, and Jamal over their minimum points, and it's plus 170. So that's not a bad way to start off of a leg. And even if it doesn't hit, you only need to win that, 40% of the time or slightly less. And it's a lot of fun to follow because sometimes those players are going to hit that by halftime. But anyways, that's kind of how I build same game parlays. You can see this is time consuming. So if you go game by game and you look at every single one of these, it can really eat up some time, but you can find some really good spots where DK's priced it and you can mix some people together and do really well. So I'm hoping to get back on YouTube, do some more videos, especially now that we got the NBA cheat sheet ramped up. We got all the logs in here. I'm excited to go through these player props and look at price picks a little bit more with some of these numbers. Typically what I'm doing now is I'm uploading it and then I'm running down here making sure this is filled 100% and every player has all the games. If one's missing, I'm making a note, and then that evening I'm going to go back and fix the name to make sure we have a very consistent database for everybody. So I hope you guys like it. Feel free to come over and try us out. We're probably the most inexpensive membership that you can have. We have a premium chat on Facebook, and if you are into sports betting, we are all over that as well. So thank you very much, and you guys have a good Friday.